Welcome back to another edition of Arizona Wildcats Insiders Podcast. Your host, Troy Hutchison. Arizona football is in full swing. The Wildcats have had an impressive season thus far, going 6-3 with wins over Kansas State, wins over the Kansas Jayhawks. Very, very good season so far for the Wildcats. Now, in the three losses, you have a blowout loss to Iowa State on the road. That's Arizona's worst game of the season. That is the worst played football game of the season by Arizona. They went on the road, fell behind 22 points to Iowa State. Cyclones are now sitting at 5-4 right now, 6-4. They're not a very impressive football team. Arizona got behind the eight ball, couldn't pull it out. Then you had the BYU game where Arizona was leading by 10 points in the fourth quarter, 24-14, with around 9 minutes left. BYU comes storming back, ties the game up right before the end of the game, 19 seconds left. Arizona loses in double overtime, 33-27, in a heartbreaking game for Arizona Wildcat fans. Then, after that, the final loss on the road at Houston. The Wildcats found themselves down again at half and really found themselves down again entering the fourth quarter, 28-14. They battle back, tie the game up, but too little too late as the Houston Cougars just ran the football right through them. They did it all game long, rushing for over 200-plus yards. In those two games, BYU and Houston, Arizona gave up nearly 500 yards rushing on the ground. The Houston Cougars were able to get into field goal range, kick the game-winning field goal, and that's the two losses. And you have great teams that Arizona lost to in BYU and Houston. Iowa State's pretty solid. Overall, it's been a very good season for Arizona. A lot of people had them below 500. Nobody thought they were going to go to a bowl game. We had them at 7-5. They're 6-3 with Baylor, Cincinnati coming up first. Cincinnati, Baylor, and Arizona State to close out the season. And as you look at the rest of the schedule, Arizona State's up and down. They've lost their quarterback for the season. Sam Levitt is out, and the backup just isn't very good. I know he won National Player of the Week with an amazing performance against Iowa State running the ball, but in terms of if you're making him pass the ball, Sims is very limited, to say the least. Then Baylor, very Jekyll and Hyde, very similar to Kansas, where they have talent. Their tight end's phenomenal. Their quarterback is solid, but I just don't trust the Baylor Bears. One of those teams that should have been more this season, and they just weren't. And you go back to coaching, I think, their head coach isn't very good. He's been on the cusp of being fired before. Do I see him leaving at some point or getting fired? Possibly. But if they make a bowl game, I'm sure he will be fine. Then you look at Cincinnati. Breakout season for the Bearcats. They've gotten phenomenal performances from their quarterbacks. Well, from their quarterback, their two running backs, star receiver, very loaded offensively, averaging 35.6 points per game, 20th in the country. Defensively, not a lot of stars on the defensive side of the ball. They don't sack the quarterback. They don't create turnovers. They have high tackling numbers. Not a very impressive defense for the Bearcats. But as you look at the national scale right now, everybody has Arizona going to a bowl game. Well, clearly they're locked in. The one bowl game that stands out from rest is LA Bowl, San Diego State. A lot of publications have that. You have the Sun Bowl mixed in against SMU a couple times there too. What was the Armed Forces Bowl was an option against Army. I just don't see that happening. I think that's worst case scenario. I think that's if Arizona goes 0-3 from this point on. We didn't see any Vegas Bowl. We didn't see any New Mexico Bowl. But here at Arizona Wildcats on SI, we came up with our own bowl projection for Arizona. And we like Arizona going to the Sun Bowl. I think the Sun Bowl, they go 7-5. They're going to get that Sun Bowl berth. 8-4, I think, is in the realm of possibility because I think they might beat ASU this season, pull off an upset, but the two teams are pretty close. Very, very good defenses, offenses that are talented and missing some pieces, and two pretty good head coaches. So I have Arizona going 7-5. That we have them going to the Sun Bowl versus Wake Forest, who's sitting at 6-3 as well. The Demon Deacons just coming off an upset win over Virginia, the Cavaliers. It's been an impressive season for Wake Forest. It's been an impressive season for Arizona. I think the Sun Bowl, you get some name recognition there. You can recruit the state of Texas. There's some talent in El Paso. and some talent in that West Texas area. So I think that's a great bowl game for Arizona to go to. If I had to pick right now, I'd probably pick Arizona. I think they're the more talented football team, and the game's just closer to Tucson. I think the fan base will travel fairly well for the Sun Bowl, but we'll see. We're a long way away from the bowl game season. I think an outside shot at the Alamo Bowl. If Arizona goes 3-0, beats Cincinnati, beats Baylor, beats Arizona State, I think Arizona's going to the Alamo Bowl, which Arizona fans, you should be ecstatic if that happens. That means they're lining up for a 10-win season, which nobody had. But again, that's a slim chance. I think you have a very slim chance at that. 8-4, I think, is very realistic. I think 8-4 is super realistic. Sun Bowl is an option there. Holiday Bowl. Again, the bowl game tiers has kind of been mixed up with Pac-12 teams still keeping their Pac-12 bowls, even though they're not in the Pac-12 anymore. Vegas Bowl, I think that would be a great bowl game for Arizona. And what's another bowl here? I think those are the top two for that situation. Now you go 7-5, potentially Sun Bowl, potentially Vegas Bowl, New Mexico Bowl, LA Bowl. The thing about the LA Bowl is you can recruit the LA area, but this is a big but. It's December 13th. It's the earliest bowl game. That'll give you a couple weeks to prepare. If Arizona's able to get to the Sun Bowl or the Alamo Bowl or really any other bowl game, there's a huge gap. You can have almost a month of practice. And that's the biggest thing when it comes to these bowl games, is having that extra time to practice. Not for your starters. They're going to do what they do. Not for the guys that are in the rotation. It's for the young bucks. It's for the freshmen, the underclassmen that haven't been playing, for them to develop and get that extra time of development with the coaching staff and going through the bowl game process is critical for programs, especially programs like Arizona that have to be wary of teams trying to go in the transfer portal, get their guys, stuff like that, and just trying to build up a program that usually takes a while to build up when it is down. So Brennan and his staff to get to a bowl game in year two, phenomenal job. And everybody could talk about, well, they were top 25 and they had a disappointing season, this, that. Yeah, Ja'Cory Cross-Kamara doesn't get his eligibility taken away. Arizona's going to a bowl game last year. Raymond Polito doesn't magically decide, hey, I don't want to play football anymore. They're going to a bowl game last year. So they had a lot of things stacked against them last season. And then the changes on the coaching staff. Let's be 100% honest. Dino Babers was not a good offense coordinator. Dwayne Aquina was a solid defense coordinator, but when the guys got injured, he didn't mix up enough. That's why he's gone. And the defensive line coach wasn't very good. Sorry, he wasn't. So you bring in Joe Salavea, one of the most respected defensive line coaches in the country, an alumni of your university, one of the top recruiters in the country. He's done a great job of revamping that defensive line. Danny Gonzalez takes over as DC. One of the bigger names in the defense coordinator pool is Danny Gonzalez. He's one of the better defense coordinators in the country. He's proven it this season. Arizona's had a very good defense, one of the top three, if not top two, defenses in the Big 12. Offensively, Seth Day, young, up-and-coming offense coordinator, very good offensive mind, great offense mind. I love his scheme. It hasn't been smooth. But again, he's year two of being an offense coordinator. They're averaging way more points per game than they were a season ago. They're averaging just under 30 points per game. They're top 50 in the country in scoring. And you look at it, the trajectory of this offense, they're going to get better game in and game out. Kansas, they had some lumps, but they found the running game, and he's only going to get better as an offense coordinator. So Arizona did a great job of building up their staff, building up the roster, and now you're seeing the fruits of the labor as Arizona will be going to a bowl game. But we have Arizona in the Sun Bowl as of right now versus Wake Forest, and that's going to be an interesting game if it does take place. Be sure to follow us on Arizona Wildcats on SI. Follow our Twitter account at Arizona Wildcats on SI. Or follow me, Troy Hutchison, at THutch1995, and we'll see you next time.